So
for now, let's find out what the next map is. Is CE gonna get a cheeky map and maybe take us? No, they give it to SPT, and SPT take us to Dragonshire.
so cool to see that we finally go to Dragonshire, a map that is very frequently banned in China. Unlike any other of the other regions, especially the major regions, China just for some reason doesn't feel comfortable in playing on it. Maybe because it doesn't focus on team fighting so much. It's all about, you know, gaining and maintaining control of the shrine areas, pushing alongside with the Dragon Knight, which takes a little bit of team fight power away from you, in fact. So maybe that's one of the reasons why CE and other Chinese teams don't want to play on it too much. But guess who wants to play on this battleground, Tetcher?
It is SPT who wants to play
8-0
on this battleground. That's a lot of games. It's pretty close to an RPG ratio at this point. But this is going to mean that CE do get the first pick and bans.
Exactly. So, 8-0. Can CE basically ruin this immaculate record and, you know, put in a little bit of a dent into SPT's history here? Let's find out. Is there a game to hold? And CE, you know, it's not like they don't want to play on Dragonshire. They actually have a couple of pocket picks, like the Nazebo, like the Chromie, that they can still make work on this battleground. And look at Zuyu on the bottom right. Super stern, super focused. There's going to be a lot of weight and responsibility on his shoulders in particular, I think.
Yes, there is a lot of pressure on him to do all the damage and try and turn it around. Look how they are. Look how long they're taking for their first ban. There's so much pressure on this. They remove Arthur's first. They like those melees every now and again.
Exactly. So, is Zuyu going to have a good game? Maybe on the Chromie, maybe on the Nazebo. If they go for the Nazebo, they need to make sure that they reach the late game. But guess what? In game number 1, there wasn't even a late game in sight. Nowhere near, because SPT just put the pedal to the metal and they rushed through this game like there was no tomorrow. Like they basically had to, you know, get the pizza out of the oven or something. I don't even know.
Oh, we're back on that one again. Are we referencing ourselves from 2 weeks ago? Have we become this meta? Either way, we do see a Luful is going to be getting his Ariel once again. SPT starting off with the Uther and the Greymane.
Greymane indeed, very solid. Unfortunately, the Curse Bullet does not work on the Dragon Knight, but still, his Worgen attacks are so damn powerful. In fact, I think the only sources of percentage damage that work on the Dragon Knight are the minigun from Tychus and the Drain Hope. Correct me if I'm wrong, or if there are more.
Believe so. I don't think most other things work.
Right. No, can't think of anything else. Maybe someone else in chat is going to come up with more insight. But for now, of course, Greymane still super solid, very, very good on this map. He can go as a solo laner, he can be part of the rotation as well. Speaking of rotations, I think it's going to be very, very crucial for CE to just stabilize way more in the early game. They definitely don't want to crumble and fall apart again.
Exactly. They want the stabilization.
Yeah, Malphite too, that's a good point.
Even if they do suffer a bit in the early game, the fact that they have Stitches now gives them a late game comeback potential.
Yes.
So that's what they need.
Exactly. That's a really good point. Like Stitches, even if you fall behind early on, even if you miss most of your hooks in the early mid game, that one golden hook is all you need to turn things around and stabilize.
Exactly. So Lunara removed here. She would have been a brilliant hope generator for CE. And CE, they've done their research. They've seen what everyone else does to deal with the Ariel. They removed the Chromie. Very nice. This is a much better drafting style by CE than last time.
Definitely. I really agree. I think now, for the first time in this best of 2, you get to see that they've got a plan. You know, they pick the double support before SPT gets it. They go for the Stitches to really stabilize in the late game should they fall behind again. And now, all they need to pick here, CE, that is a little bit of follow-up CC and a follow-up damage. So, you know, the likes of, let's say, a KT could work. Definitely something we've seen before. But then, of course, you wouldn't really have the value of the double support. What do you think? Are they going to go for a mage, or do they go for the classic auto-attack carry?
Not sure. I wouldn't mind both. Like, Stitches can definitely solo tank, so maybe a Gul'dan. Like, Cassio would be okay against Greymane, for starters, and even Muradin, due to both of his 2 top level 7 talents being very auto-attack focused.
True. So they could go for the solo tank Stitches, which we have seen plenty of times in the past, not just in China. I think Dignitas actually made this style really popular. You can still go for the full slam build. JPL did that on a regular basis, and they go for the Vala. So they go the classic route, and they top it off with the Dahaka. Great mobility, great laning presence as well. So this time around, I'm already more confident in the draft and what CE brought to the table.
Yeah, and CE finish out with Zeratul, looking for that backline focus onto the Ariel, maybe even the Tassadar or the Vala if they can find it.
Exactly. So, after seeing the Double Dwarf being locked in once again and finalized with the Zeratul, do you think they have what it takes to really break through that double support? Do they have enough damage, SPT that is?
I think so. I think it's going to take them a while. It's going to be a very attrition-y game, I think, in general. But the Zeratul could be exactly what they need in terms of that overall damage.
Yeah, and not just that. I mean, Zeratul offers great burst damage, don't get me wrong, but there's so much more about the hero. You can isolate people, you can deny a hook, like the moment you basically put everyone in the Void Prison in the backline, the follow-up damage might not be there to execute someone after hooking him. So there's a lot of play potential around what CE has on the side of SPT, and I like the fact that you mentioned it being like a war of attrition, right? Because on on Dragonshire, games can last really, really long.
Yes, they can, and that is not something you ideally want to go for when you're against the Stitches comp, to be fair. But now, ladies and gentlemen, we are heading into game number 2, final game of the day between SPT and CE.
Alright, and we bow before our new Chinese champions, SPT, but can they take the series 2-0 against CE? We're gonna find out in a bit. In the meantime, SPT in the blues here. On the left-hand side, we have Jingzhao on the Grey Main, Melody C on Falstad, Misaka plays Murden, Wings on Zeratul, and ZZH plays Uther.
Whereas on the right-hand side, it's going to be CE with a Lufel on Ariel, Wind on Stitches, KTY on Tassadar, Paradise on Dahaka, and Zuyu is on the Vala. I'm Tetra, this is Kendrick. This is the final game of this phase of HGC China. We will hopefully be back after the Eastern Clash, but we do not know exact dates for that, and I do hope, though, that we will be covering it.
Oh, I would give my little finger, my pinky finger, if we could do that again. Absolutely. No, don't judge me on that. Don't quote me on that, Blizzard. Please don't make it part of our contract.
How are you going to hit Q? Or tab? Kendrick, you need that.
I need that. I take back my words.
I guess you can do it on your right hand. Like, you don't need your right pinky finger. That's your mouse hand.
Yeah, let's not go into any more detail here. Don't give Blizzard any ideas for the future contract here. Anyway, but I would love to cast this series again, of course, or this league, because we've been doing it for 2 seasons now, and I've been having an absolute blast, and we really hope that you guys are having a fun time out there as well. In the meantime, guess who's not having a fun time? Lufel falls victim, becomes first blood, and Zuyu follows suit. Bye-bye.
Yeah, beautiful roam coming in there from Falstad. And as a heads up, guys, the score of this game now does not matter. Unnecessary hook for no reason. Wind is now in danger because he's delivered the assassin to himself and is going to die. Neat. But yeah, this score does not matter. It is no matter what, even if we tie right now, seeing as SPT did start with 1 point ahead of CE, even if we tie, they'll both get 1 point and SPT will still be the champions. So no matter what, SPT have won this phase of HGC China. This is pride for CE. It's champion versus champion. Last season versus this season.
It's pride on the one hand, and on the other hand, it's also, you know, defending their reputation, not making other teams disrespect them at the Eastern Clash. They really want to represent China, you know, in a decent way and fashion. And if you know Chinese players, or Chinese teams in particular, they have a lot of pride. And similar to all Asian players, because esports is such a big part of their culture by this point, they really don't want to look like goose in this last series of the season.
Lupul, though, once again being focused, the aggression from SPT really coming together. Someone mentioning that maybe there is, of course, the possibility that these points do stick over and carry over for BlizzCon, like they do for the other regions. So, in which case, these points do absolutely matter, and disregard everything I've said, except for the fact that KTY will survive here due to being Tassadar Zuyu. Oh my god, not so lucky.
Isn't it funny how at some point, one of those glorious ranged assassin players in China always seems to have an off day? Like, yesterday it was good, on E-Star it didn't really have the best of his showings, sometimes it's Ring Zhao, we've been criticizing him in the past as well, and today it seems to be Suya who's struggling a little bit, don't you think?
He is definitely struggling a little bit, Dragonite being taken by Wind, but I would argue that the struggling is very much due to just insane gank attempts by a Superfluid team, and of course Valor cannot survive if her supports are dead. So, Wings with the first Dragonite of the game, already picking up a first tower, and is now going to rotate up to the top lane.
Absolutely agree. Like, today, I don't know what it is, I'm not sure what SPT had for breakfast, but today, they look like a different team. They look on a whole different level. They outsource and outshine CE in every manner, be it rotation, early game aggressiveness, but also the drafting in game 1. They're just so good today. And it's exactly the right time to basically show up, right?
Oh, yes, it is. Right before the Eastern Clash, Super Perfect Team were like, those slumps we had last week and the week before, they're gone. We are ready for the MVP Blacks, the Tempest, the Deadly Kittens. That just doesn't sound as intimidating in that sense. As we do see ZZH and Zhen Zhao pushing in the bot lane.
Don't forget about the fact that at the mid-season brawl, SPT actually had a worse record than Deadly Kittens.
True, but we also have to remember that SPT were using a substitute.
There we go.
So there you go. This is going to be the first time in quite a while, actually, that SPT will be going to an offline event or with their full roster, with stacking through, taken out.
Man, I don't know what it is, but CE just looks more like Wukong Gaming in that series than the actual reigning or formerly reigning Chinese champions. It just looks so easy. No matter where SPT goes, they always find a target to jump on, you know? Win for the second time, getting sandwiched to death by SPT, body blocked until there was no more room and space for him to run away. I don't know what it is, man. CE just doesn't seem to be on point.
They're crushing it, dude. They're doing a really good job. SPT are just like, oh, Stitches for the tank. Sorry, we may have deleted that. That might have happened earlier. Our fault. We're not sorry. As we do see another kill onto the hacker as well, through the wall. Fast at maximum range auto attack, picking up that kill as well.
Exactly. Let's talk a little bit about the talents here. Let's see if we can find any oddities here. But so far, everything looks fairly standard. We see, we don't see the Resonation for Tassadar level 7 this time around. We see the Mental Acuity, of course, giving him a lower cooldown on the Oracle after completion. But they need takedowns for it. Why would you go for the talent when you're so far behind, right?
They're going to get him eventually. They have Stitches to take it. Strike a Luful, juking the stun. The Luful gets out this time. Nicely done.
Style points indeed there. That was a mini juke that is not easy to execute against the Muradin, especially when the Muradin is named Misaka. So definitely showing his skills there. A Luful that is still my favorite support player despite struggling today a little bit. And isn't it funny how Luful hasn't really played any of his go-to supports in that important series, like no Karazim, no Right Wing, instead he went for the Rhaegar, now for the Oriole.
Yeah, I guess it's just the compositions that they are running today, and to be fair, this composition is double support. Wings, second Dragonite of the game. But yeah, it is double support, so that's just preferable in general. They usually end up on those supports because the other teams go super all in on that double support strat, but SPT have just been letting them have it this time.
Yeah, this time they let them have it, and they don't really seem to be struggling that much. That's the second Dragonite of the game in favor of SPT. Slowly but surely, those structures on the side of CE are going to lose a lot of health. They put a lot of pressure here in the bottom lane against the fort. The hook is missing. Wind, no Wang Stitches so far. His hitting accuracy on the hooks has been very, very abysmal, and Wings also taking a lot of damage in return, though, on the Dragonite now.
Yes, they are, and Wings having to pull back on that Dragonite. Still has 22 seconds, and 12% health, so he wants to utilize that to the best of his ability. Health dropping down to 1%, dead. Killed by an Ariel auto attack. How humiliated are you, Dragonite? As Misaka going to be pulling back as Stitches, not able to land the hook. Forceful for the escape. Sorry, to try and prevent the escape, but not able to land it.
Not able to land it. Neither the Force Wall nor the hook were hit. And that, of course, is a problem because CE banks all their hopes on, of course, catching a target isolated, gorging it, devouring it, and then denying him to retreat or it to retreat with a force ball.
Uh-oh.
Oh boy, this could get ugly.
Falstad's flying in, Misaka jumps into the Void Prism. Alufal getting focused down. Falstad gusting them all away from Stitches, but the Aegis keeping him alive for the moment. They're surviving through this, but Dahaka taken out first. Alufal is just getting so focused, but they are actually turning this round.
So low.
Zuyu shredding the team right now. Down goes Xianzhao. Misaka is surviving. He makes it over the wall, and Falstad is fleeing to the top lane, but that's a 3 for 2 in favor of CE. They turned that round barely.
They turned around in a very, very close manner here. At the moment, or at the beginning of the team fight, SPT looked like they had a perfect VP with a perfect gust to follow it up on. But in the end, there was just so much damage done by Zuyu. The W build here on the multi-shot build really paying off dividends. And if there's only one Uther available, he doesn't have the healing capabilities like he would have had in a double support comp. So really a sign of life here on the side of CE. They do not go down without at least getting a couple of kills.
Indeed, they are coming back fighting. They know that this is the final, they know these points matter, and they are the ex-champions. They are going to fight tooth and nail to try and keep this. As CE continue to rotate around the map, grabbing their own mercenaries, playing safe on their side for the moment, because their forts are a little low.
Yeah, they need the next Dragon Knight. I don't think they can hold any of their forwards if SPT once again pierces through with a big bad dragon on their side, and maybe even keeps Might Fall if they end up losing team members. So, while on the one hand, they need to commit to certain risks, they still need to wait until level 13 though. That's very, very important.
Wings going for Dragon Knight number 3, and is able to pick that up without too much trouble. CE not able to take back that bottom shrine in time. The CE pulling back, Muradin with the stun, but his team wasn't near enough, so they just pulled back.
Yeah, you could really see how CE was committing a lot of resources onto that bottom lane because they really wanted to get the shrine there as well. However, they didn't get it quickly enough, so SPT snuck in another Dragon Knight. And this one, as time goes by, guys, those Dragon Knights are going to scale much higher, they're going to deal more damage, and they're going to be more resilient to building damage. So, little before it falls, Wings took a little bit of damage. In the meantime, Falstad with a mercenary camp still in the top lane.
Yeah, I likely tried to force wall it as well when the Dragon Knight is a massive creature and therefore not affected by the force wall.
Exactly,
so,
exactly.
A little bit unfortunate. Muradin is found and Dwarf tosses away. Wind is in a position to maybe land a hook if someone hangs around too much, but they do see him retreating. However, the Dragon Knight has been left basically unattended except for Paradise. It has a Falstad supporting it, and they are crushing through the bridge of death.
Yeah, the top lane normally not the most important one on Dragonshire because of that very bridge here. You normally don't want to commit to full all-in team fights here, but it's always nice to get additional XP, and now the Dragon Knight is circumvented, is surrounded, and is Zeratul going to make it? I think he will.
They're trying to turn onto Zuyu.
Oh,
Heal is dropped. Force wall to separate the two. VP Tassadar. Yes, Tassadar. High Templar better than Dark Templar. As Tassadar kills off Zeratul.
They kill him, but they took a little bit of damage in the bottom lane here as well. However, SPT doesn't feel comfortable enough to really keep on the pressure because with the likes of Dahaka, there's always going to be someone to rotate very quickly, and as such, CE, you know, they remain relatively unscathed here in the bottom lane. But they gotta kill, and that's very important for them. If you're 2 levels behind, every kill you get is going to give you more XP than vice versa. So every kill matters if you want to stabilize and come back.
Exactly, that's exactly what they need. They need as many kills as they can without losing members unnecessarily. This is a risky camp attempt. Tassadar sees basically everyone here. This might be a bad idea. They gorge someone, move on to the point, take the camp. In comes a divine shielded Greymane in the backline, going straight for Zuyu, who rolls back into his team, and this has forced the zone. Dahaka putting so much pressure onto Melanie C that they can't really do much good. Drag has to force the cleanse. Melanie C having to roll away to get to freedom, as now the focus is on Misaka, who Dwarf tosses out. And SPT barely surviving. That was close.
Yeah, if you think about it, the position and the location for CE was very, very unfortunate. They were actually caught with their backs against the wall of the horseshoe down the bottom lane. The mercenary camp was still caught by them.
Oh,
and denied!
Beautiful execution of the force wall into the Tamer's Drag. Paradise might not be so lucky, but his team is on the way. Can he survive?
Oh, the race car! Wow.
And he's out. Excuse me. Bye, Falstad. I think I just sneezed Falstad out of existence.
You sneezed him to death.
And here comes... Oh, okay, Wind just ignores Wings. I don't think he saw the shimmer. As now it is the focus on Misaka. They slow him, they drag him, and Misaka's taken out. CE with the comeback.
With the comeback indeed, beautifully done, 3 kills to 0, and look at the XP, that's exactly what we were talking about earlier, Tetcher. Every kill matters, they got so much XP out of this. They're for the first time in this game in a position where they can actually claim the Dragon Knight. Their team fighting looks so much more crisp, the accuracy on the drags and on the hooks has improved greatly, and CE for the first time in this series is in the driver's seat.
Yes, they are. Their first Dragon Knight. Wings, step aside. It's time for Wind. As they smash through these towers. They're going to be looking for at least this at this late stage.
Alright, Wind leading the charge here on the Dragon Knight. Paradise cannot afford to die here. Goes for the time once more.
Does he have burrow?
Yeah, he doesn't burrow. There we go.
Yeah.
That's a different burrow.
Oh, the gust! The gust engage heal Aegis, and the team arrives. And Paradise survives again.
Man, Paradise, he refuses to go to Paradise. Not today, not in this game. He just won't die and buys so much time for his teammates to get value elsewhere. KTY is playing with SPT here as well. Dimensional Shift saves him, but the heavy impact locks him down.
And SPT, crisis management to the max, spreading it all over the map. Second, so many people rotate up to protect Tahaka. They focus on Valor with a Divine Shield on the Greymane, and he goes deep. Then they just focus onto Tass as he just tries to stay around near the Dragon Knight. Dragon Knight can't protect him, 3 versus 2, and he gets taken out. Beautiful execution of a pretty rough position for SPT.
Yeah. 21 stacks on the perfect storm talent here for Misaka. That's one of his favorite talents to go for, and he normally stacks it up so quickly. I mean, 21 is a lot of extra damage. I think he wanted to use the dwarf tusk to interrupt the kick animation here. Very, very funny. Now, Tetcher, I want to highlight something here. We talk a lot about, you know, HGC China being very aggressive. Chinese teams prioritize team fighting above all. Now, if you compare the kill count to, let's say, your standard European game on Dragonshire, do you realize something?
It's pretty high.
Pretty high, exactly.
Yeah.
12 to 7 in only 14 minutes.
Indeed. Lots of kills jumping around on the map here. Most of them are due to SPT, due to their nice execution of these ganks.
Yeah, definitely true. And that's why China as a region is just so entertaining to watch. You know, it's not always the highest class of games in terms of macro play and rotations, but in terms of raw fighting and killing and surviving, it's definitely one of the more enjoyable experience. So make sure to spread the word, guys, for future seasons. China's definitely a region that deserves a little bit more recognition.
I would agree by everyone in general. We do see a full sand build for Stitch is not going for that sort of comeback potential fishing hook. Tahaka, on the other hand, does take the extra range on his drag, so he's going to attempt to get those sneaky drags to try and make the comeback kills.
Yeah, also, we see the Reservoir of Hope here for Oriel instead of the attack speed increase for Vala, which is normally something we are a lot more used to seeing, right? But I think in the end, CE realizes that all they need to do is stay alive, and in the end, Zuyu is going to carry them to victory. So going for the bigger heals, the increased hope count here in general is definitely going to be very beneficial.
Yeah, so it's cool to see. Like, we very rarely see this talent outside of if you take the damage talent level 1, which I haven't seen in almost a year at this point.
Yeah.
Cool build though. Very fun.
Storm talents available for SPT now. We see a redemption for Uther, so he's gonna come back from the dead every 120 seconds. Now, oh, what? Yeah, rewind on Murden. Okay, that's pretty cool. Is that Epic Mountain Falstad? I think it is.
Epic Mountain Falstad and Hunter's Blunderbuss on the Greymane. And so, Wings, another Dragon Knight, his 4th. He's having a pretty good game today.
Yeah. And now, you know, past the 15-minute mark and after level 20, these things will hit like a truck and are actually quite resilient as well. So with the bottom lane being a little bit weakened already, I think it might be SPT's time to go for the keep, especially if CE can't manage to get 20 before.
So CE moving forward. They could attempt a Gorge straight away without even the hook against Uther or someone like that. They are pulling further back, dropping as much range damage. Zuyu gets punted away though. That buys time. Paradise is just trying to stop Melly C from gaining value in the top lane, but this keep is dropping low. Stitches. Hook finds Greymane cleanse though, so Gorge not available, so they use Gorge! He gets 3, moves back towards his base though, but everyone comes out before he can get in keep range. Winged is being focused, but this has bought them time. Paradise coming in from above as they try to wade through the VP.
Uther.
On pause.
I think they need
False
to
set of
abandon him.
vibes.
Yeah, they need to abandon him or
And
save
the
him with a
gust.
gust. They tried to go for the gust here. Uther will come back though. The redemption is online. And the hungry Stitches just saved CE from losing their keep. It brought so much time and wreaked so much confusion in the lines of SPT, but they're not done fighting just yet.
Heavy impact, stunning a Luful. He gets destroyed. Down goes Wind as we see SPT smashing through this fight. Valor down 2, once again on Paradise. Zhen Zhao has actually been baited and will die to the towers. KTY gets at least 1 counter kill, but that's still a 4 for 1. KTY is alone, newest member to the team. He now has to pull off the impossible, and it's called impossible for a reason. SPT moving on to the core, and that will be GG. They become our HGC China champions for the summer season, and they do it with a 2-0.
They do it with a clean 2-0. Despite CE fighting tough and fighting hard in that last game, it was not enough, and SPT is going to represent China as the top tier champions at the Eastern Clash. Very well done, and I think they have earned this title, because if you take their consistent performance into consideration, they have played one hell of a season and rightfully earned the #1 spot.
Yes, completely agreed. With overall performance, SPT moving on to the Eastern Clash in first place, and that's going to be a solid roster of teams we have going to the Eastern Clash. SPT in first, CE in second, and in third, it is going to be E-Star. That is a solid lineup that we're going to have there. Korea beware.
Korea beware indeed. That's actually going to be the motto of the Eastern Clash, because if there has ever been a time for China to step up as a region, maybe snatch the title of the best region in Asia from Korea, it has definitely been now, with teams like E-Star still looking strong despite a relatively new roster, with CE despite their series here just in there, still looking very, very good overall. And SPT, of course, could really become this unstoppable force with, you know, Misaka in the fray, finally reunited with his team for the first big tournament as a 5-man roster. I think their performance at the midseason brawl cannot be taken as granted.
Would completely agree. So, for now, let's talk about that series a little bit more. CE Signs of Life. They had, but the focus on Ariel was beautiful. Well done, thanks to just the heavy CC and good aggressive comp from SPT. It was just executed beautifully.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Like, Misaka on that Muradin is a force, is a beast. After level 20, gaining access to Rewind was giving him so much stun, as Tetris said. The double heavy impact, the double storm bolt. Then of course you have the Iron Forge momentum, which gives you cooldown reduction if you're in the thick of things. And that just continues to rain stuns. But Melody C also, you know, Melody C is always that kind of player that makes the difference. And there's not many players like that in the world in a game like Heroes of the Storm. But this one man has enough manpower behind him to really always win teamfights single-handedly.
Yes, he does. Completely agreed. So, nicely done, well played, coming in from SPT. 17 kills to 9. It was looking even rougher at the start. Where what was the score we were on before CE were actually able to pick up the kill?
I can't remember. I'm sorry.
Yeah, me neither. Oh well. But yes, it looks really good for both these teams heading in. Only a couple predictions right, several 1-1s, and it's fair they did do pretty good.
Yeah, it's safe to say that the 1-1 was probably a very likely result to predict, but it did not come true after all, and guess what? The two English casters that thought of themselves as so smart were outclassed heavily. No CE wins today.
Yes, unfortunately, we got kind of wrecked. Ah well, ah well, ah well.
We just wanted to be special.
We did want to be special, and unfortunately we were denied. So ladies and gentlemen, we hope you all enjoyed. We hope you all enjoyed HGC China. We will hopefully be returning for it after the Eastern Clash. We will both be watching it I hope it is going to be absolutely spectacular, along with the Western Clash. And that will be your guys' Heroes of the Storm esports content coming up for you guys. I hope you're as excited as we are. Tonight, though, there is no open division because it is Wednesday. Kendrick, I believe, is going to be streaming directly after this.
You got my back. That's exactly what I'm going to be doing. So I'll be playing some Hero League, and let's see how long I can last. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, before we continue shamelessly self-promoting, we're going to show you the crowning ceremony here. Because SPT, they've got a trophy to take. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for your reigning new Chinese champions. They fought hard for this. They worked incredibly hard for this as well. And they're finally there to stand with pride and raise that trophy high. It is SPT.
They've been chasing it for a while, but they have finally ascended to the top of the mountain. SPT, your HGC China champions for the summer season.